Hey guys, it's Will here and welcome to my first battle report in quite some time. In fact, apart from the Tale of 4 Gamers mission we did, it's been over 5 weeks since I've had a game and even longer since I've had a Batrep up, which has just been unavoidable with life being a bit of a pain in the butt, but I'm back and got loads of cool stuff planned. Tonight we're going to be doing one of the missions from Chapter Approved, one of the Maelstrom missions. I haven't rolled for that yet, but going to do that shortly, and so looking forward to giving one of those a try. It's actually going to be my first time using the rules from there, and I'm going to give my Eldar a go. Played a couple of games with them and had pretty good results, but both of those were against Tyranids before Tyranids had a codex, so that is going to be rather different tonight. It's going to be an army I'm facing off against that a few of you have asked to see and that we've not seen for a while. It's going to be Sam's Orks. So Alex, I know you want to see more Orks on the channel, and yeah, we bring you Orks. Sam's actually going through the process of upgrading his Orks at the moment. In fact, he's completely redoing the army. His painting's come a long way since he originally painted the first models for this list back in 4th edition, and so he's now doing a whole new Ork army. He's doing Bad Moons, so look out for the yellow Orks. Obviously not yellow skinned Orks, that would be weird, but Orks in yellow armour. So should be good to see them on the table for the first time on the channel. And it's going to be an interesting contrast between an army that is pretty decent and, you know, rules wise is pretty solid, it's got its codex, but being played by a guy who's possibly a little bit rusty, versus an army that is known to not be the strongest but being played by someone who has been playing them non-stop 3 times a week for a month and really knows what he's doing with them. So yeah, this will be a nice little test of whether it's your army or whether it's your play style that can make a bigger difference. But anyway, without further ado, let's take a look at them lists. So here's my 2,000 points of Biltan Eldar. I've been running this list since the codex came out and so far had 100% success rate in the 3 games I've had. So start off, we have a battalion led by my warlord, and that is my Farseer on a jet bike. He's got a singing spear and his artifact is the Phoenix gem, so he's got a good chance of resurrecting. Backing him up, I've got a Spirit Seer. Then for troops, 3 units of Dire Avengers, 1 unit of 10 with the Exarch with the Shimmer Shield, and then 2 units of 5s where the Exarchs have the double Shuriken Catapult. Then I've got a couple of elite units, Wraith Guard with the D cannons, or the Wraith cannons, and Fire Dragons with an Exarch. For heavy supports, Dark Reapers with an Exarch, a Falcon with Bright Lance, Pulse Laser, Underslung Shuriken Catapult, and the what's it called, Crystal Targeting Matrix. Got Wave Serpent with Shuriken Cannon and Bright Lances, and a Wave Serpent with Shuriken Cannon and Shuriken Cannons. And then finally a unit of Striking Scorpions to round out that battalion, and that's got a an Exarch with Scorpion's Claw. Then I've also got a Outrider detachment, so I've got 2 units of Warp Spiders, both with Exarchs with the double spider web thingy that I've forgotten the name of, leading that up with a Warlock with just a Witchblade, and then 2 units of Windrider jet bikes, both 4 strong, with the Shuriken Cannons to make the most of the Biltan Craftworld ability, giving me reroll 1s with all the Shuriken weapons in this force. So that's my Eldar. Let's take a look at Sam's Orks.
So here is my 2,000 points of Orks, and the new project you'll finally get to see has started some Bad Moons. They're basically to replace my old Orks, which are in a terrible nick, and I've had since 4th ed, so doing a new Ork army, which you'll get to watch grow, hopefully. So this is a Vanguard and a battalion. So I'll start with my HQs, who are over here. A Weird Boy, a War Boss in just heavy armour with his shooter, with the Ed Whopper's Kill Chopper, and the Shock Attack Gun, which you can just see there. I got 20 Storm Boys, there's 8 burners there. Transports wise, Battle Wagon, both with 2 big shooters, and then there's 3 trucks. The yellow one, which is my first Bad Moon truck, has a Wrecking Ball and a big shooter. The other 2 just have their big shooters. And then we've got 10 tank busters. Excuse the spanner in the middle there of the custom Mega Blaster. That is actually a rocket launcher. It's just a little proxy. I left my knob of combi rocket at home. And then 10 more burner boys, just because burner boys are awesome right now. And then on to all the troops that fill out the bulk. So I've got 30 boys with a war boss knob with a big chopper. The 20 Bad Moon boys with shooters again. 2 rocket launchers and a combi rocket in that squad. And then 2 mobs of 20 with knobs with big choppers. I find big choppers just to be better bang for their buck than a power claw these days, because there's no penalties hit and the damage is a flat 2, which is better than a D3 in my opinion. So these 2 mobs will be in the 2 battle wagons. The shooter boy mobs will be on foot. The 2 burner boy mobs are in trucks, and the tank buster mob is in a truck. So that is 2,000 points onto deployment.
So the mission we've rolled up is Tactical Gambit, so we need to guess how many objectives we think we're going to score at the start of the turn. As for the deployment, we've gone for the one with like the spearhead in the middle. I don't think it's called that, but basically I've pulled way far back anyway, because I don't want to be in combat with these orcs. Sam finished deploying first, so he'll get +1 on the roll-off, and as you can see his force is mainly clumped in the centre here. We've got the War Boss and the Weird Boy in that truck, battle wagons in the centre and off to the side. The big threats I can see here are the tank busters, who could make a nasty mess of my tanks. The shooter boys at the back, who I know are going to get the jump on me with the Weird Boy, and the Storm Boys could get up in my face very quickly. With that in mind, I pulled quite far back, so I've got all my Avengers here ready to counter the Storm Boys. 2 small squads in there, big squad in there, Warlocks accompanying them, and Spirit Seers in there. Fire Dragons in the Falcon, Farseer with the Biltarm Warlord trait, and then the jet bikes, and then over here Reapers behind the woods. The way we use these woods here at 40k is that clumped woods block line of sight through them, but you can fire out of them, so my plan will just be to walk the Reapers in there on turn 1 and start shooting. In reserves I've got 2 units of Warp Spiders, the Striking Scorpions, and I've used the command point to put the Wraith Guard in reserve as well. So yeah, that's how things are deployed. Sam's War Boss has just got the +1 weapon skill trait, and +1 strength, sorry, Warlord trait, and this should be an interesting game. It's my first time using the new chapter approved, and my first time playing against Orks for a very long time. So let's roll off. It's a 4 for me,
4 for me, roll
and a 4 for him. Roll again. It's a 4 for me, and it's a 5 for Sam. So, Orc turn 1. So, Sam took first turn and guessed 1 for his gambit, which he was easily able to achieve. He was being a little conservative there. He had 3 score objective marker ones, which were number 1, number 5, and number 3 in the centre there, so was able to push most of his forces forward. As you can see, these boys have come a long way. That was the psychic phase. Is Weird Boy at the back there hopped out of his transport and used the jump on them, sending them all the way over here. Storm Boys are leading the charge, and Tank Busters were the main shooting contributors, doing 6 wounds to the Falcon, then did another 2 with the shock attack gun from the mech, and all of the big shooters on all these vehicles killed 2 jet bikes from this squad. But then it was these boys who had a really good turn, so after jumping over they opened up with their big shooters, with their shooters on the jet bikes, and wiped out all bar 1 before getting the assault off on both the jet bikes and the Reapers and cutting them down from no casualties. So a really brutal start. He's got first blood. He's also scored 3 objectives. He's holding Kingslayer, and I think he's going to hold on to that. And then 1 point for the Gambit, giving him 5 points straight off the bat. So right now it looks like my force is really backed into a corner, but I've got a lot of reserves to bring on. So here we are with Eldar, turn 2. So this turn I decided to gamble and go for 2 as my Gambit, even though I hadn't seen my cards yet. I thought I need to get some points back here. And then I drew awful cards. Defend 1, Objective 1 was over here, so not only was I not on it, but there was a big pile of orcs on it. Area denial, there was 2 large mobs in transports on the centre of the board. Blood and Guts with Eldar, that's going to be fun. And Secure 3, which was originally Defend 3, which is right under that truck in the centre of the board, sorry, wagon in the centre of the board. Used 2 command points to replace that with another one and got Secure 3, so it's really disappointing objectives this turn. But I wasn't going to let that stop me from counter-striking hard, so Wraithguard came down over here and shot for the tank. Unfortunately, didn't do a huge amount of damage. I rolled 8 points, 8 wounds, which is decent, but not really what I was hoping for, not being able to stop it, and that's going to be a risk next turn. All my units in transports disembarked, ready to light up the target. Warp Spiders came down at either end of my line of Avengers, and the Striking Scorpions came over here to threaten the Burner Boy's truck. Psychic phase, my Farseer managed to doom the... oh no, failed to doom. Actually, he had a really poor turn of dice, but yeah, managed to get Guide up on this tank, and then I was able to get Protect off on these, sorry, Conceal on these guys, so they got +1 save next turn. Sorry, no, yeah, he's right, it was on those. Yeah, then shooting wise, as you can see, there's not many orcs in this part of town anymore. The truck over there was wrecked by combined firepower from the Wave Serpent, half this Dire Avenger squad, and the Scorpions. And then I took off a couple more of the Burner Boys with fire from the Avengers. And the rest of it sort of lit up the middle of the board here. So we wrecked the truck with the Tank Busters in, using my Dire Avengers. And then the Warp Spiders, sorry, Fire Dragons, and the Warp Spiders and Dire Avengers and this tank and the jet bikes wiped out the Tank Busters and all the Storm Boys, so that was a nice chunk of Sam's army taken out there, 2 trucks and 2 vehicles. Falcon, who was firing at lower ballistic skill because he'd taken some damage, went for the wagon over there because he couldn't see the truck over there, and unfortunately didn't do anything thanks to his ballistic skill being reduced. So I didn't actually score anything that turn. In fact, I gave Sam 2 points because my Gambit failed, but we've made a nice dent in the army. Some of his scariest units, like the Tank Busters and Storm Boys, are down, and those Burner Boys are a little bit less manoeuvrable, although definitely a threat to several key units. I also tried to get the Scorpions to charge using Court of the Young King, so that was 2 points there. Failed the charge by an inch, tried to re-roll one of the dice with another command point and failed it. So I am down to just 1 command point now, and I haven't scored any points, so yeah, this could be tough. Let's see what the Orks do in response. So Orc turn 2, and Sam decided to go for 2 for his Gambit and continued to push forward. So his objectives were 2 lots of objective 4, which was nice and easy. He just brought the Burner Boys across, although it did save me from their charge. 6 was being held by the Big Mech, and Defend 1. Now obviously he doesn't score that this turn, but he did get his Gambit from all of those. He had really good cards this game. And then yeah, the army just pushed forward. Shooting was relatively ineffective apart from the Burner Boys, who cooked a bunch of Warp Spiders. And a few Fire Dragons got cooked by the Burner Boys in that truck, but it was all about the charges. This big mob of boys surged forward, wiped out my Fire Dragons and my Warp Spiders, and locked down this Avenger squad. Warboss got into combat with a Falcon, although only did 1 damage. But yeah, it was nasty. It just felt like it was relentless. Oh yeah, he also killed 5 of these guys with the shooting from that mob, so shooting wasn't a complete no-go. These guys moved very far forward because they moved and then got the benefit of the jump from the weird boy. And yeah, just a really nasty turn. I feel like I'm running out of options already, and it's only turn 2 and I'm yet to get off the mark, whereas Sam got 5 points that turn. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one to come back from, but here we go. Eldar turn 2. So I guessed 1 for my objectives this turn, but in the end actually ended up scoring 2, so I'll get 3 points in total. This sort of cluster stayed down here, but then I pushed up my Warp Spider Exarch, the only survivor of all my spiders, and he was able to assassinate the weird boy, which, while not scoring me anything, was nice to get him out of the way. Also, jet bikes came up to the middle to claim objective 3, which got me another point. Wraithguard advanced and shot the battle wagon in the bum, so bye-bye battle wagon, but there's another one to deal with here. And down here, this big mob of boys, as you can see, is greatly reduced. Pulled these guys out and then fired on them with this tank and those 2 Avenger units, leaving them with just 3 guys left. And then the Falcon killed a couple of the burner boys with its underslung shuriken cannon, and the Bright Lance failed to do any damage to the other battle wagon. Striking Scorpions came across here, wiped out the burner boys with a combination of shooting and assault before getting into combat with these guys on the consolidation, and that was kind of handy because they're not going to be shooting me next turn. But they did kill 5 of me in the end, 5 of my Scorpions in the end, which was less than ideal. But when all said and done, got 3 points that turn, so I'm finally off the mark. But there's still a way to go, so let's see what happens in the 3rd Ork turn. Sam gambited 2 this turn and scored 1 straight off the bat for advance, basically get everything out of his deployment zone. He'd already done that. Big Mech is just outside there, and essentially just continued the crushing advance of everything down here. So yeah, these guys have stayed in with the Scorpions and killed another 4 of them for 2 in return. The battle wagon charged these squads here, locking them down, although didn't do any damage. The truck full of burner boys that was here shot across there, and that killed off my last warp spider, which got him overwhelming firepower and no prisoners. Big Mech shot the jet bikes, killed 1, leaving just the 1 model left, and the big boys mob down here, together with the little mob and the war boss, wiped out the Falcon and the Dire Avenger squad there. So yeah, pretty effective. So we got 3 scores for no prisoners, as well as 1 for overwhelming firepower and advance, and he scored his gambit, so 6 points that turn. So he is really streaking away in the lead, and I am gradually running out of models that can do anything. Yeah, so both the next turn, both my Avenger squads are going to have to step out of combat. My Scorpions locked down, and these guys are going to have to run and will still be out of range. But we'll play it out, see what these Eldar can do. Okay, Eldar turn 3, and I gambited 1 again because I didn't want to end up giving Sam more points, and that was the wise choice, because drew a couple of secures that were going to be difficult to get, and supremacy. Did have overwhelming firepower, which I was keen to score, but also wanted to keep my Avengers alive, so I popped them back into the tanks. They had to step out of combat, so they weren't going to get to shoot anyway. So they're both in their Wave Serpents, and they whizzed over here and opened up on the battle wagon and the boys. So battle wagon was eventually wrecked by the Serpent shields, and the boys were cut down with shuriken cannon fire. So just 2 knobs left and the war boss, and the destruction of the battle wagon got me overwhelming firepower. Over here, this jet bike killed a couple from this squad, and these guys kept just running across the board, knowing it's going to take them a long time to get to where they need to be. So got just the 1 point, plus the bonus for the gambit. So not a terrible turn, but yeah, and we're finally starting to make a big dent in the number of Orks here. Both of these mobs were 20 strong and are down to just their knob now. But I don't think there's going to be enough game left to finish him off. I think Sam might have me here as we go into Ork turn 4. Ork turn 4. This mob moved up here, and these guys all came over here, setting up easy charges on the Wave Serpents. The shock attack gun stayed where he was, and these guys pushed up towards the Wraithguard because they were the only things they were reasonably going to get. These guys shot the Wraithguard, only did 2 wounds, but then charged the jet bike, who was a little bit closer, wiped him out, but weren't quite able to consolidate into the Wraithguard. Incidentally, Sam had guessed 2 this turn for his gambit, and had hold the line, defend objective 4, defend 6, and domination. So tough cards, tough cards. But he pulled off all the charges over here. Truck with a wrecking ball didn't do anything, but then he managed to put a nice bunch of wounds onto this with Ed Whopper's kill chopper from the war boss, and do 1 wound to the other wave serpent with the boys. So not a complete whitewash, but both wave serpents are now in a bad state after the amount of firepower they took on the way in, both on 9 and 8 wounds taken respectively, so both down to their middle level in degrading. But he didn't score any objectives, so I get 2 points that turn, so that brings me back to 8 points. However, Sam's got 22, so this is going to be a long fight back. Here we go with Eldar turn 4. So took a risk, and despite relatively low assets left on the table, went for 2 for my gambit this turn, and it didn't really pay off. I had Hidden Path, which was objective 6, being sat on by the big mech. Already had Supremacy and Defend 4, which weren't that likely, but I did get Kane's Wrath, which was going to be doable. So trying to get the big mech off 6, I pushed my Wave Serpent up there, as well as my Wraithguard. Now the Wraithguard didn't get close enough with their run to shoot the big mech. They had to shoot the boys mob. Did kill 3 of them, and weren't quite in range to charge him either because of the crater. But the Wave Serpent did get some clean shots on him, and missed with everything, and when it did hit with rerolls from my Farseer's Guide, it failed to wound. So Big Mech's still alive, which is a little bit of a pain. It also stopped me getting 6, but at least it stopped Sam scoring Defend 6 this turn. Other than that, Avengers got out of their respective transports, so these guys came out down here to threaten the war boss and surviving knobs, backed up by the Farseer, and these guys came out on top of these ruins, or this wrecked tank, to threaten the boys mob there, and threaten the boys mob they did. They killed like 5 or 6 of them, and then a load more fled from leaderships. There's just the 1 dude left there. And down here I was able to kill off the 2 knobs with shooting, put some hurt on the war boss with the Wave Serpent, and finish him off in combat. So that got me Kane's Wrath and slay the Warlord, so that's 2 points. But with failing to score 2 objective cards, gave up the gambit that turn, so Sam's now on a stupid number of points, but at least I killed the Warlord. We're going to have to wipe him out to win this, I think. Here we go with Ork turn 5. So Ork turn 5, and things really are all over for the Eldar, although we did get a point because he gambited 2, or gambited 1 and couldn't score anything. We're just being crushed here. Burner Boys came out, tied down everything down here. This guy, the surviving knob from there's tied down my Spirit Seer, and this big mob got into my Wraithguard, who are my last really strong unit on the table. So yeah, and a few of them died. They're not going to run away, but yeah, too much is locked down. There's not enough firepower left on the board, and so even though Sam didn't score anything this turn, we are going to call that there, because the score is now 25-9, and I haven't got enough firepower to wipe him out, and I haven't got enough time to score enough points. So yeah, we're going to call that. Certainly a very challenging game against Orks, but thanks a lot for the game, mate, and we'll join you in a minute for a post game. Right, so in the end there, the Orks were victorious, smashing the Eldar, although...
As it should be.
Although models-wise, we were about sort of even by the end of the game. He was just running away with the points. There was nothing I could do to combat that.
Yeah, well, I've been playing Orks while you've been away, basically.
Yeah, I've played 1 game of 40k in the last 5 weeks because of life getting in the way.
I've been playing at least 2, maybe 3.
So here we've seen that experience does play out over having had a codex.
I have played nothing but the Orks, so they're not as good as they should be, but having played them a lot, I can make them work.
Exactly. So this is actually really encouraging for the game to show that actually being able to play your army counts as much as having an army that's good. So
yeah, so there's a lot of power out there. I'm still miffed that everyone seems to have rerolls. Everyone's just reroll to hit, reroll this, reroll that. I'm just like,
I don't have any reroll charges.
Yeah, no, well, not army. Yeah, army-wide reroll charges for the boys infantry. And the one thing that made a massive difference in that game was the war boss's run charge. His being able to advance the charge.
You were able to just get right on top of me, and the jump. Yeah. The jump is so good.
The jump is awesome. Although my big weird boy did nearly blow his head off on turn 1.
Yeah, but it didn't matter because he did his job.
Yeah, he did what he was supposed to.
If he died at that point, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, so if he can jump 2 units, it's almost perfect. So. yeah, just sheer weight in numbers eventually brought you down.
So apart from what you will say, which is playing elves, what could I have done differently?
Not played elves.
Yeah, apart from not playing elves.
Being more patient with your transports, not getting bogged down, like moving them around a bit, because you sat in the corner and just let me come to you, and I was able to just bog you down basically. Jumping all your reserves and all your units out straight away, I think it's a good tactic to do a lot of damage, but at the same time, it's rushing in, making yourself really vulnerable.
Yeah, this is true.
You see what I did with the Orks there? They came out over progression of turns, so I never had more Orks out than I actually needed at the time.
Yeah.
So you weren't killing them needlessly.
Maybe have to give that a try in another game. But yeah.
Definitely being patient in your transport seems to work. Definitely for combat heavy armies.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and hopefully it won't be so long till next time.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. I'll catch you later. Bye.
Bye.